Wednesday this week, I mentioned that Catherine and I had to wrestle with the decision of what to allow our children to watch, listen to, and access on the internet, television, and radio. We still do. In particular, for the spiritual and mental health of our family, we made the decision to ban the cartoon Ben 10. We then had to decide, what do we do with the DVDs, videos, and toys of Ben 10 that were in our home? Because most of them were given to our children as Christmas presents, as birthday presents. And so we made the decision to throw them away. This week we've looked at two visions that Zechariah was given by God. The first vision was of a flying scroll, which symbolised the sin among the people of God, and God banished that sin. The second vision was of a woman in a basket, and this image was symbolic of God physically removing the sin that he had banished. Today we'll look at another vision, the eighth vision that Zechariah was given, and this vision points us to the sin that was banished and removed being finally destroyed. Zechariah 6 verse 11. Look up again, and there before me, I looked up again, and there before me were 4 chariots coming out from between 2 mountains, mountains of bronze. The first chariot had red horses, the second black, the third white, and the fourth dappled, all of them powerful. I asked the angel who was speaking to me, "What are these, my Lord?" The angel answered me, "These are the 4 spirits of heaven going out from standing in the presence of the Lord of the whole world. The one with the black horses is going toward the north country, the one with the white horses toward the west, the one with the dappled horses towards the south." Then he called to me, "Look, those going toward the north country have given my spirit rest in the land of the north." Now the horses should sound familiar to you because they're similar to those we read about in chapter 1. Okay, in chapter 1 the horses went out and observed the earth and then reported back what they found, which was that the whole world, except for the people of God, were at peace and at rest. Now the horses here are described as the spirits of heaven, and their task is not to observe the earth, but to bring rest to the land of the north. Okay, now the land of the north we read about in chapter 2 of Zechariah is Babylon. And so the question this chapter poses is, what does it mean for the spirit to be given rest in Babylon? Now the answer is that having banished the sin from his people, that sin was then carried away from the land of Israel and placed in the land of Babylon. And now finally that sin will be destroyed. Okay, now this is symbolic language and we have to work hard to figure out what's being said. However, when we think about the idea of the world being at rest, but the people of God being in exile, which was chapter 1, and then God bringing his people back and removing sin from their land, it makes sense that God has flipped what was happening in chapter 1. Now his people are at rest because God has destroyed their sin, and the world, symbolized by Babylon, is now in exile. Okay, and so as followers of Jesus, we know that Jesus has destroyed the eternal judgment of sin, and he did that on the cross. Jesus destroyed sin once and for all time. However, we still sin. We still suffer with the effects of sin in our lives and the lives of those around us. And I've encouraged you this week to think about a particular sin that you struggle with and to practically and physically consider how you can banish and remove that sin from your life. Or today, I want to urge you to take hold of that truth. Because if you do the hard work of banishing and removing that sin, then you will experience the peace of God. Okay, there'll still be other sins and we'll spend our lifetime banishing sin. However, there is peace to be found in victory over sin. Okay, start with defeating one sin and then move on to the next. Friends, why don't you spend a couple of minutes in prayer and ask God to help you destroy one sin that you're struggling with.